This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Monday, October 21. From the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, a soggy Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios as the rain is coming down, baby. Welcome in. Hope you had a great weekend. We got lots to talk about, lots to get to. Big program as always. The voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, joins me here on the program today, along with Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. We'll talk to Mike as well. We'll hear from the victors as Indiana football gets a big win over Maryland over the weekend. Puts the Hoosiers at 5-2 on this current season. And they head into Nebraska as the 3-point favorite on the road. Back-to-back road favorites in the Big Ten. I can't tell you the last time that happened for the Indiana football program, but it's going on right now. Of course, Michael Penix left the game early with what is believed to be concussion protocol. Nothing serious. He was seen. I think he's fine. I think it was a precautionary thing because it was Maryland. They could take him out, and they did, to have him for next week's game against Nebraska, which is crucial. Indiana can be bowl eligible before Halloween. It's crazy. But it's definitely a fact, a possibility. IU women's soccer fell in overtime to number 22 Rutgers over the weekend. Man, that soccer program, they're getting better. On a cloud-covered Sunday afternoon, Indiana forced number 22 Rutgers to overtime, but an early goal in overtime by the Scarlet Knights proved to be the difference makers. The Hoosiers were edged 1-0. Melanie Forbes had a good game. Senior captain Chandra Davidson. Alawia Wos. I hope that's how you say her first name. She's one of the best players they have. I think the men have a game coming up this week with Evansville, the number 6 Hoosiers. Indiana currently ranked 6th. They'll take on the Evansville Purple Aces in the team's final non-conference match of 2019. The in-state matchup is slated for 7 o'clock tomorrow at Jerry Yeagley Field. Of course, out of Bill Armstrong Stadium. The match will be streamed on BTN+. The Hoosiers enter the midweek contest having suffered the team's first Big Ten Conference regular season loss since 2015 with a 3-0 defeat at number 25 Maryland. That's a beatdown in soccer. We're wondering what it was going to look like when they had to get out. Last season, the Hoosiers won both the Big Ten regular season championship for the 15th time and the Big Ten tournament championship for the 13th time in the same season since 2006. We'll see if they can repeat that this year. But, they're coming off of a tough loss. But Maryland is a fine program, obviously. Are they the defending national champion? I believe they are. The Evansville Purple Aces will head to Bloomington with an overall record of 2-9-1 and a Missouri Valley Conference record of 0-6. So this should be just the medicine Indiana needs. Indiana's dominated this series overall. Lead at 30-4-3. But the Indiana's unbeaten streak of 32 regular season games was snapped in a 3-0 loss at number 25 Maryland. During that unbeaten streak, the Hoosiers posted a record of 20-0-9. Hate to see that go by the wayside, but they have a young squad. 14 new faces on that team. But they're doing a good job. The Hoosiers have played in 13 matches this season. In 11 of those matches, the team has committed fewer fouls than the opponent. That's good. Football, that's a big win, man. Big win. I know people are going to talk about, is Maryland done? All I got to say is Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a 30.5-point favorite at Illinois. And they simply just got beat. The numbers from Saturday. Michael Penix, before he left, he was 9 of 14, 141 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He had a quarterback rating of 158. Peyton Ramsey comes in relief, 20 of 27, 193 yards for a touchdown, a quarterback rating of 146. They had two quarterbacks average rating 152. That ain't bad. Stevie Scott goes off for 108 yards on 18 carries. That's averaging 6 yards a carry. Unfortunately, Indiana's rushing defense gave up 158 yards to Javon Leak. He averaged nearly 7 yards a carry. They did a good job holding Pigram in check, though. He only ran the ball 9 times for 6 yards. But that's too many yards to give up on the ground. Receiving-wise, Peyton Hendershot and Nick Westbrook both with 6 receptions. Stevie Scott with 5. It's a lot of balls, man. Nine different receivers caught 29 passes for 334 yards. Average of 11.5 yards a catch. That's what you want to see. Overall, the offense put up 520 yards of offense, folks, versus 383 for Maryland. When Mike Schumann joins us today, we'll talk a little bit more about basketball. We'll talk a little bit about that with Don as well, but more so with Mike. Talk a little bit more football with Don. But the Hoosiers were in action on the basketball court yesterday in a private scrimmage with Marquette. Indiana comes out on the short end of that stick, unfortunately. Basically at the free throw line. They lose this game by 3, 72-69. But they were 24 of 43 at the free throw line. What the hell is going on with free throws under Archie Miller? I have to ask. I don't get it. Free throw shooting is not a difficult thing. Anybody can shoot free throws. Except for the Indiana team, apparently. 24 of 43, folks. They lost by 3 points. They missed 19 free throws. What the hell? Text in from Ryan, Whitmore Lake, Michigan. I could not believe the free throw shooting percentage. And I think we got a technical foul, which was interesting in the scrimmage. Franklin looked like he played well. Yeah, he got a lot of time and took advantage of it. But, yeah, the free throw shooting is atrocious. Ryan, thank you for the text. Tim also texted in. Is it ironic that the Colts game ended like the IU football game, the opposing team driving down to tie or win the game, and the defense comes up with an interception? Huge play. Huge on both ends. Huge on both ends. We'll talk about both of those with Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers, who will be joining me next. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will join me after that. But a lot to get to. Indiana looking good on the football field. Now they stand 5-2. 1 game shy of bowl eligibility. And they head to Nebraska as a 3-point favorite. Are you kidding me? I was pretty positive with this football team, but I didn't really think that they would go to Nebraska as a favorite, even after this game and this win. I thought because the win was close, and Nebraska was on a bye, there's no way that Nebraska won't be a 3-point favorite. But holy cow. And the bookmakers did this not knowing what Indiana's quarterback situation is. That tells me a lot. It also tells me they probably think Michael Penix will play, which I think he will, because I don't think this was a serious injury. I thought it was something to get him out quick that they can look at, which they did. And I think he'll be good to go at Nebraska. We'll certainly find out. But, man, can you imagine Indiana becoming bowl eligible at Nebraska? What world does that happen? Woo, we got a lot coming up, man. Got a vote in the coaches poll. Tim texted in, that's right. We'll talk about that. Indiana did get a vote in the coaches poll. I don't know why. I don't really want to make a big deal of that. They got a vote. You go to Nebraska next week and you win at Nebraska and you move to 6-2, you're going to get a lot of attention. You become bowl eligible with 4 games to play, you're going to get a lot of attention. Because if they manage to do that, they come back home with the game against Northwestern, which they will also be favored. Can you imagine this team 7-2 with 3 games to play? Be nuts. But it's a very distinct possibility. Very distinct possibility. We got a lot more to get to. The great voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, is going to join me next here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and we're back with more right after this.
Trying to make a living and working hard to get to heaven where I come from.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday, October 21st. What a big weekend it was. Welcome now, the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Don, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How about you?
I cannot complain. Just enjoying the kind of a comfortable weekend. Indiana was on the road, of course. I did not travel to Maryland, but you don't have that option, and thank goodness, because what a game that was down there.
It really was a very good football game. If you didn't care who won, it was back and forth. It was exciting right down to the end. A really good performance in the sense that Indiana was able to come up with a victory on Saturday. The offense, I thought, was spectacular most of the game. The defense, again, came up with big plays at the end. Still hasn't played the kind of game that I think they're capable of playing at this point. But that said, 7 games in, the Hoosiers are 5-2 after the victory. A 34-28 triumph over Maryland, and being 5-2 at this juncture of the season hasn't happened since 2007. So it's been 12 years since we've experienced this kind of joy, so to speak, over a victory.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that if you look at that Maryland game and thinking how close it was, that, well, Indiana almost did it again. Actually, you get into conference play, ask Wisconsin how they're feeling today after being a 30-point favorite at Illinois and losing that game. A Big Ten win is a Big Ten win.
Yep, it doesn't matter what the final outcome is other than the W in the win column. That's the only thing that really matters. And was it a perfect game? No, it was not. Indiana had too many penalties in this contest, way too many. They had, I think, 11 penalties for 105 yards that were very costly and lots of mistakes that need to be cleaned up. There's no doubt about that. Several of them helped Maryland go right down the field on the very first series of the ball game that Maryland had the football and led to their touchdown. So Indiana could have really maybe put this ball game away early in the second half if they would have played defensively the way I think they're capable of playing, but they did not. And you got to give Maryland credit, too. They've got a terrific bunch of skill players, great athletes, tremendous speed. Their quarterback, Pigram, who did not play well the week before in his first starting role of the season, taking over for Josh Jackson. Pigram did not throw the ball very well against Purdue. He threw it tremendous against Indiana. I mean, actually looked poised back there, made good throws and smart decisions for the most part. He played very, very well. But I do give this Indiana football team credit. They hung in there. They battled right down to the end, and then the defense stepped up at the end and got 2 big turnovers. And Jawan Burgess with the strip of the ball and then recovering it himself, taking away 1 Maryland drive, and then the last drive of the ball game. Reese Taylor steps up and gets a big pick. Of course, the ball was thrown basically right to him. But I did ask him before we went on the air in our post-game show, I said, Reese, he says, what? I said, did you go, hey, I'm open to the quarterback for Maryland? He goes, and he started laughing. He goes, it looked like it, didn't it? So at any rate, he got the big pick, and, of course, that salted away the game for Indiana. Took a knee a couple of times, but the MVP of this ball game, without question, was Peyton Ramsey. This kid continues to step up when asked after being not named the starter at the beginning of the season. Michael Penix, who continues to have some injury issues, he's played only 2 full games this year for this Indiana football team, and he goes down early in the second quarter, got a hit, got up wobbly, went out of the ball game, came back in the next series and played, but then he did not play the rest of the ball game. And so we don't know quite what his status is or what the injury is, but My guess is that it could have been very easily a concussion or a mild concussion of some kind that they didn't, observe right away. But the key is Peyton Ramsey stepped into this ball game, and he was just terrific. He continues to throw the ball extremely well. He doesn't have the same arm as Michael Penix. We all know that. That's the reason he is not the starting quarterback in this football team, or at least that's why he was not announced as the starter. And Penix played terrific while he was in there. But the fact of the matter is, Ramsey could have gotten in the NCAA transfer portal right away and said, that's enough. They're going to name somebody else a starter. He didn't do that. He didn't pout on the sidelines. I'm sure it was really eating him up inside that he was not the starter after being the starter for well over almost 2 years. But that said, he continues to play, continues to be a leader, continues to be a tough guy, and handle everything that's thrown at him. And, again, he was the MVP of this football game.
Oh, without question, he came in off the bench and kept the consistency going with this offense. I think that was the key thing. They didn't really miss a beat when Peyton came in. They just continued the same flow that they had managed. Kalen DeBoer doing a phenomenal job with game planning. We can't forget to call him out. He's done such an exceptional job with this offense, and I think that it allows both of these players, who are slightly different, but it allows both of them to come in and, without missing a beat, just step right in to what's going on.
No, that's exactly right. And I said to Tom Allen on our talk show last Wednesday night, I said your most important recruit this past season was Kalen DeBoer, because I think he has been tremendous with the offensive game plans and to what this team has been able to accomplish from an offensive standpoint. And again, a big part of that success goes to what Ramsey has been able to do coming off the bench and what Penix has been able to do as the starter. But we'll have to wait and see on Penix's status for the upcoming week. Naturally, we don't know what that will be at this juncture. Hopefully, we'll find out more today at the press conference. But all that said, this was a terrific win for this Indiana football team. There's no question, having not been 5-2 at this point since 2007, and being one game away from being bowl eligible, those kinds of things haven't come Indiana's way very often over the last 20-plus years. And obviously this being the second time now, it's great for this Indiana football team. It's great for the confidence of the players. And they've got two big ball games remaining in this 4-game stretch that we said was such a crucial part of this football season. And they come away with 2 victories in their first 2 games of this 4-game stretch. So this is really such a positive thing for this football program.
Absolutely, Don. And now the attention turns west as the Hoosiers will travel to Lincoln, Nebraska for their next contest. They're a 3-point favorite, which and the spreads don't mean a lot. But when you look at the context that Indiana has won back-to-back Big Ten games, and they are a favorite on the road at Nebraska for the next contest, that in itself shows progression of this program that we haven't seen for a while.
Well, like I said, I don't put much. I know the spread people know what they're talking about generally, but they didn't know a daggone thing when they picked the Wisconsin Badgers to be 30-point favorites over Illinois.
They missed that one, didn't they?
Well, that stunned everybody, and there's just no question about it. All you can do is go. And here's what I would do if I'm a college football coach, and I've got a pretty good team, and we've been rolling along pretty well. I would put that game up on the board, and I would say, gentlemen, here's why you can never, ever get out of your lane and start thinking about something besides the game you're playing right now. Because let's face it, Wisconsin's supposed to be playing Ohio State. Is it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wisconsin obviously was looking ahead. There's just no doubt about that, because they are by far and away a much better football team than Illinois ever thought of being at this point in these two programs' situation. And honestly, there's only one way they could have gotten beat by Illinois, and if that was with their mind wasn't even thinking about them. And that's what I would put up for any football team at this point who's having a little success.
Absolutely. It'll be fun heading out to Lincoln, Nebraska for a great game, a great atmosphere. I don't think Indiana's gone there, so I'm assuming you haven't called a game in that stadium.
Oh, yes,
before.
I have.
Oh,
back in 1977, the last time Indiana played Nebraska at Lincoln,
okay.
Lee Corso was the coach, and Indiana got stomped by a guy named I.M. Hip.
Oh, yeah.
And He was the running back for Nebraska at that time, and Indiana took a real beating out there. I can't remember exactly the score, but it was something like 62-17 or 19, something like that.
Holy cow! I didn't realize we had played him that recently, which is not recent. The basketball season also getting started. I'm not even going to call it a secret scrimmage. I'm going to call it a closed scrimmage with Marquette yesterday. As the information came out, Indiana lost that contest 72-69, but a couple of guys didn't play, and it's just a scrimmage. But it's good to see the guys get on the floor. Armand Franklin apparently had 14 points. What a great showing by the freshman.
Well, all three of the newcomers on this ball club performed really well yesterday. Joey Brunk had 11 points and 7 rebounds. You mentioned Armand, who had 14 to lead the scoring in the contest, and Trace Jackson-Davis had 11 points. So those three guys, along with Al Durham, were the double-figure scorers. Durham played the point guard position, had 11 points and 4 assists in the ball game. I don't know if I said this last week or not, or I guess I didn't because I wasn't on the show until after I saw practice. Al Durham was the best player on the floor last Monday when I watched practice. He played terrific defense. He played the point several moments of that practice session and looked really good in distributing the basketball. He shot it well. And, of course, he's already been named, voted one of the captains by this basketball team. I just think Al has really made some real inroads with his performances, and it's going to be important that he continues that. The one thing you see about Al is he's not the biggest guy in the world, and sometimes I think he wears down a little bit. But hopefully that durability is going to continue to get better, and he can continue to be that improved player. We saw him last year, thought he was one of the more improved players from his freshman season, and right now we're seeing the same thing as a junior after his sophomore season. So that's a good plus there. I think the one thing that comes out of the scrimmage yesterday, Jeb, more than anything is that there are 11 guys on scholarship in this team, and they're all going to see a lot of playing time this year if they earn it. I think Archie Miller has really decided that if you don't play the way I want you to play, you're going to be sitting down on the bench with me, and I think that's pretty much how he's going to work things this year. If you go out there and do your job and do it the way he wants you to do it, I think you're going to get playing time. But I think this is a pretty deep team, other than the fact that they've got a couple injuries right now with Rob Finney and Devontae Green, who did not play in that scrimmage. That said, the last 9 minutes of that scrimmage, the only guard that played was Armand Franklin. Al Durham, I think, got some kind of a ding and didn't play the last 9 minutes. So the only guard on the floor was Armand Franklin, and he lived up to the task. So you've got to feel good about that. And the fact that they did not shoot free throws worth a nickel in this ball game. They had 43 opportunities and missed. I think they were 24 of 43, something like that. So just over 50% of their free throws did not went in the basket. So that still is bothersome to me. There's no question about that. And I know Miller was not very happy with it after the ball game.
Yeah, I noticed he got a technical foul, which I'm laughing because I haven't seen him get a technical foul in any regular contest. So to see him get one in a scrimmage is kind of funny.
I heard about it. I heard that it was a late whistle. Race Thompson, I think, went up and blocked a shot, and supposedly it took 3 seconds for the official to finally blow his whistle and call a foul, and Archie took umbrage with that. So at any rate, he did. I think it was fairly early in the game, too, so Archie was just getting a little something off his chest, I think.
Well, Don, it's a lot coming up. Indiana traveling to Nebraska this week for a huge game. Indiana one game away from being bowl eligible this early in the season again. I don't think this has happened since either 07 or 93. You have to go back and look at that, but I think it's 07. But the fact that they are there with 5 games to go, great sign for this Hoosier football team.
Yeah, there's no question. It's going to be a fun week. Obviously, Indiana, I'm still kind of stunned that they're the favorite going into this game at Nebraska, a Nebraska team that was picked to win the Western Division of the Big Ten this year. I think the media got carried away with themselves a little bit in regarding voting Nebraska as the division winner. But that all said, Nebraska is not going to be an easy test. We don't know what Martinez's status is at quarterback for them. Certainly we don't know what it is for Penix for Indiana. But right now I feel good about Peyton Ramsey and what he's been able to do in those situations where Michael has not been able to play.
Absolutely. Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers. We're so grateful to have him each and every week. Don, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate your having me.
You bet. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Staying prepared, staying sharp week to week, even when you're not QB1.
Sure, it's hard, and that's why this is so emotional, because you prepare every single week like you're going to be the guy, and then you never know. You never know when your number's going to be called, and sure, it's been hard, but there's a lot of really, really good guys in that locker room who all fight for every single day. So they make my job a lot easier. They make my life easy just coming to practice every single day and being around those guys.
What has been different?
That was Peyton Ramsey. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Here from Peyton Ramsey there, the quarterback for Indiana who stepped in place of Michael Penix. Joined now by our good friend Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Michael, how are you?
Doing great, Jim. How are you doing?
Good. A big win for Indiana over the weekend as they knock off Maryland, which was expected. They were a 6-point favorite, 6.5-point favorite. They actually win by 6. So they get the job done that they're supposed to get done, and a lot of people we'll look at that score and say, well, they should have beat them by a lot more. Well, Wisconsin was probably thinking that at Illinois too. So I'm sure that most teams are going to take a win as a win as a win, especially in the Big Ten Conference, especially when you go down a quarterback. So the fact that Indiana did what it did without kind of missing a beat looked pretty good to me. And defensively, they had problems, but offensively, they sure stayed on target.
Yeah, I mean, they probably weren't a 6-point favorite if the prognosticators had recognized that Michael Penix wasn't going to finish that game. So, all the things you said, playing on the road in the Big Ten with your backup quarterback, I think you got to chalk that up to a good win, despite the fact that, it was a game that Indiana was in fact favored and indeed did need to take care of business. I think, the second half really spoke volumes to me because, as you said, the defense was really not good at all in the first half. They gave up a lot of big plays. They couldn't get penetration at the line of scrimmage, but they made a lot of adjustments. I mean, I think that second half defense only gave up 7 points and only gave up like 144 yards. So it was a big adjustment. And then, of course, the defense in the last 5 minutes of the game, got 2 takeaways to seal it. So, even within that game, there were strides on the defensive end. There's obviously still big question marks and a lot of big games against better offenses coming up down the stretch here. But there's a lot of positives to take away for sure.
Yeah, you look on Maryland's receiving side, they had 210 yards, which is not a ton. They did allow Dante Demas to get 82 yards off of 5 catches, 43 yards to another guy, 52 to another guy. So that secondary is still not really getting it done. And the defense overall is kind of, when you've looked at Indiana to have problems this year, it's been defensively. And that's something that you certainly want to see them get shored up ASAP, especially when you head out on another road game at Nebraska this week, although Indiana is unbelievably a 3-point favorite in Lincoln this weekend.
Yeah, how many people had IU as a favorite at Nebraska a couple months ago when we were going into the season? I venture to say nobody would have put Indiana as a favorite. Most probably would have put them as a double-digit underdog, but, things change. And much like Indiana with their quarterback uncertainty, Nebraska has the same situation. Adrian Martinez has not been what people had thought he would be this year, but he's still a very dynamic quarterback, really a dual threat kind of guy. And he did not play in their last game. They had a bye last week, but he did not play against Minnesota a week ago. And, the backup there, unlike Indiana, they don't have a backup that can come in with, more than 20 games of experience under his belt. They brought in a guy that I believe made his first ever start against Minnesota, and it didn't really go well. And Nebraska only scored 7 points in that road blowout loss to Minnesota. So they've certainly got their own question marks. I don't know. I guess we'll hear in the coaches' interviews this week from both sides where things stand with each quarterback. But that's obviously going to be a big question mark going into the game, and it's going to probably sway the point spread that we're talking about quite a bit too.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that without knowing what the quarterback situation is. So that tells me it may go up if Michael Penix actually is the quarterback, because if they throw that number out there, not knowing it all, well, what does that mean? And the fact of Michael Penix, his availability this week, we do not know that. I'm thinking it was a concussion protocol type of thing from what I'm seeing and reading. I did not travel to Maryland. I will be at Nebraska, but I'll be out there today for the press conferences. But they generally don't tell us much of anything. So whatever you find out is what you find out other ways. But I'm thinking the way he looked, he sure seemed good enough that where he gave the wave before he went into the locker room. He seemed okay. This seems more precautionary than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think we're going to hear anything all week about what's going on. I mean, my first reaction when I saw him get hit on his throwing shoulder was that it was a re-aggravation of that injury. But then, of course, Allen said after the case that wasn't the case. So, perhaps it isn't. I don't think the coaching staff has been necessarily completely straightforward with his injuries in the past. For obvious reasons, they want to, protect their ability to have the element of surprise going into games. So maybe it's concussion, maybe it's the same thing that it's been in the past. I just don't think we're going to know. I think it's going to be, it's a short-term injury. It's a game-time decision sort of thing, and it's probably going to be that way from both sides. I think Martinez a couple of weeks ago, going into the Minnesota game, they were saying the same kind of things, questionable day to day, but he didn't even end up dressing for that game. So I think his situation might be a little bit more long term than maybe what they've let on, but that's not entirely clear either.
Well, here's the thing: if you're the opposing defense, Nebraska, I don't think you really have to worry about who's going to play, because the offense doesn't really change much. It's a rapid fire machine gun Kelly offense that's coming at you that you don't know where the ball's going, you don't know who the ball's going to. So I don't know that it really matters as far as Nebraska is concerned on as far as preparation, because the preparation doesn't change much. Now, is there a difference between quarterbacks? Yeah, there's a slight difference. Michael Penix has a stronger arm. And what that means is that doesn't mean equate everything to long, deep passes. What it means is on a 15-yard out, that ball's going to get to the receiver faster, which allows the defense less time to adjust. That's the difference in these quarterbacks, folks. And that's the difference between what we see on the field. It doesn't mean that Peyton Ramsey can't get the job done. He can. It's just not with the same velocity, I guess you'd say. And it changes things in that regard. But I think Indiana, like I said, the bookmakers made them a 3-point favorite, not knowing who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that initial point made about Ramsey's ability to throw the ball down the field. I mean, you saw the ball he threw to Westbrook in the corner of the end zone. That was perfect, and he's shown several times that he can do that. It may not get there quite as fast, but I think he's got the arm strength to do that. It's more the as you said, the 15-yard out where he's got to really step into something and step on it, where there's not that much separation between the receiver and the corner. That's the one where potentially the defense can say, okay, if Ramsey's playing, we can kind of shave that portion of the field off and not worry about it to other areas. So, I agree. I mean, I think Ramsey kind of availed himself of a lot of the questions in that Maryland game, but there still is a difference. And I think if you're game planning for Indiana this week, okay, if Ramsey's going to be in the game, this is the 2 or 3 things that we do different. But at the same time, if you're Indiana, you're thinking, you know what, he still gives us a great chance to win. I'm guessing there's not too many teams in the Big Ten that can bring in a backup quarterback that gives you a chance to win as much as Ramsey does. And it's what we talked about going all the way back to August during fall camp, during the quarterback battle. I think we said at the time when we talked about it that even if Penix wins or Ramsey wins, whoever your backup is going to be good. And you're in a good position to have. And I was even thinking Saturday, if something happened to Ramsey, you know what, I want to see Tuttle out there, give him a chance, because I've not heard anything bad about that guy either. Of course, we don't want to go there, but if it happens, I think Indiana's even pretty confident in their 3 deep.
Yeah, we'll certainly find out. Also, a lot of interesting things coming out of the closed scrimmage. I'm not going to call it a secret scrimmage anymore. It's ridiculous. But the closed scrimmage Indiana had with Marquette up at Bankers Life Fieldhouse yesterday, Indiana losing that contest 72-69. But basically, they lose that game like they did a couple years ago at the free throw line by going 24 of 43. That's horrendous.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, that's something that fans I won't say get used to, because they're already used to it, but prepare themselves for another season of that, basically, because if you look up and down the roster for their big men, which Archie's told us they're going to play more inside out this year, all of their forwards on the roster, save for the unknown exception of Jerome Hunter, which he did go 2 for 2 in that game. So maybe there's some hope there once he rounds himself into the playing for him. But the rest of them, the other 6 scholarship forwards on the roster, none of them are good free throw shooters. So this isn't going anywhere. This is going to be a topic the entire season, unfortunately, unless a few guys, namely probably Brunk and Trace Jackson Davis, unless guys like that become good free throw shooters over the course of the season, we're going to be continuously talking about this. I mean, of course, if your starting backcourt plays, which they didn't. And I think that's an important point for people to understand if they weren't aware that Devontae Green and Rob Hennessy, neither one even played in this scrimmage. So how much stock you can put into really any of the results is, questionable. But
I think you can the free throw shooting, though.
What was that?
I think you can on the free throw shooting. I mean, you look at Marquette, they only got to the line 26 times, but they hit 19 of them. And Indiana, with 43 attempts, only hitting 24. As good a game as Armaan Franklin had, he was 0 for 4 at the free throw line. As good a game as Trace Jackson had, he was 5 of 9 at the free throw line. They can't have guys missing 4 after free throws in a contest. I mean, especially when you see yourself losing by 3 when you miss 19. It's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. The fact that those big guys are missing those free throws, that whether Tennessee and Green are out there or not, that doesn't change that fact. The only thing I was gonna go with there is that late in games, Tennessee and Green are going to be the guy with the ball in their hand, and that they're both pretty good free throw shooters. So maybe if you're trying to protect a lead, you don't have to worry about the bigs knocking down free throws. But to even get to that point, you're going to have to sweat through a lot of missed free throws, I'm afraid, over the course of this year.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know that there's a lot that comes out of this game. You had so a lot of the new guys that scored 11 points. Trace Jackson Davis had 11. Joey Brunk had 11. Al Durham, obviously not a new guy, but he also had 11 points in this game. The leader scoring-wise was Armaan Franklin. That's a great sign to see a freshman like that step up and score that many points in a contest, especially as basically his first one. Outside of that, he played a lot of minutes. He played almost 30 minutes of the contest, and he was 4 of 7 from the floor. His only problem was at the free throw line. So hopefully that gets better. And I think we lost Mike. So hopefully we didn't lose everybody. No, I didn't. We're still here. All right. I think we lost Mike for some reason. You get him back on the line. But, yeah, that's you see guys, Justin Smith, he was 4 of 10 from the floor. I mean, that's 40%. He was 1 of 1. He took a 3-point shot. Indiana didn't take a lot of 3-point shots. The most came from Armaan Franklin. He was 2 of 5. Jerome Hunter attempted 2. He was 50% on that. He was 2 of 2 at the free throw line, so you got to give him that. So the shooting itself wasn't bad. They were 5 of 10 from behind the arc. So, and 20 of 44 overall. Mike, I was just saying that was probably the only big negative, Mike, was the free throw shooting, although it's a gigantic negative. But it's the only one. They end up shooting 45% for the game. Not quite what you want to see, but not terrible. They were 5 of 10 from behind the 3-point line. Again, much better than what Indiana's done in the past. But 55% at the free throw line. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that was no doubt the one that jumped off the page at me. I mean, you could point to 16 turnovers, but without Green and Hennessy playing, I don't sweat that one too much. I mean, a lot of those turnovers, like 4 for Jerome Hunter, was just a guy shaking off for us. So I wouldn't worry too much about that one. If there's a one positive highlight for me, it's the same thing you jump to. I mean, you're throwing Armaan Franklin into the fire there, with being one of only 2 scholarship guards, even playing in the game. He goes 30 minutes and puts up 14 points and knocks down a couple threes. I mean, at a minimum, he's showing you that he's going to be able to contribute this year. You can't overreact to it too much, but at this point that you can go to him in a pinch. And I think he's going to play every game with only 4 scholarship guards. It may only be a couple minutes here or there in certain games, and it may be a big role in others, but I think he's going to prove out to be a guy that can give you something during his freshman year, which is encouraging and something that IU definitely needs with only 4 scholarship guards.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting offense to see how they're able to weld in these guards and the guys in the front court. We saw Joey Brunk yesterday with 11 points, showing that he's ready to be a part of the offense. Trace Jackson as well. Deron Davis, we didn't see a lot out of him. Did he even play? I don't think he played, did he?
He played 10 minutes, but from what I heard, it was just get him out there and run up and down the court a few times. I don't know that he's necessarily 100% right now.
I think a very positive sign is Jerome Hunter getting out there for 14 minutes on the floor. He was 2 of 3. He took a couple 3-pointers. He hit one of them. He was 2 for 2 at the free throw line. So not a bad performance by him coming off the, out of the clock, just off the shelf basically.
Yeah, if you get him some run in that, you get him some run next week in the public exhibition, and then hopefully by that time, once the season starts, he's shaking off a fair amount of the rust. I mean, he's a guy that I think you're really looking to January to hopefully kind of get into his rhythm and be the kind of player that we all think he has the potential to be. I mean, it's a really tough ask, not only to come off a season of injury, but to come off all the other things that he went through in the last year. And he's really never played high major college basketball at a competitive level. So, you gotta be patient with him, but him along with guys like Demezy and Race Thompson, the kind of guys that between the bigs and the guards, those to me are pretty important guys right now. Cause you have, 3 natural, what I would really call centers, although nobody calls anybody a center anymore, and Brunk and Jackson Davis and Davis. And then you got the guards, but the college basketball is more about kind of the stretch threes, the wings, the versatile guys. And Indiana really, doesn't have proven commodities in that part of the game. And so if anyone or more of, the Hunters or the Andersons or the Thompsons can emerge and really become that threat out on the 3 or the stretch 4 capacity, I think that's going to be important for IU.
Yeah, Indiana played more than well enough to win this game, especially defensively. They kicked it up. In the first half, they gave up almost 52% shooting by Marquette, but the second half, they cut that to 26%. They forced Marquette to 8 of 30 shooting. So they picked up the defensive intensity. The 3-point shooting by Marquette was only 23% in the second half, 4 of 17. So the defensive intensity picked up. They played more than well enough to win this game. They just didn't hit freaking free throws. And that's what drives you crazy. It's like, dude, they're free. They're free throws. You stand at a line 10 feet away and you just hit a shot that all of us can do. And I don't expect them to hit 100%, but you have to, as a team, hit 70%. And they're nowhere close to this, and they haven't been under Archie Miller, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, and I heard people yesterday saying, well, they were playing at Bankers Life. It's
I don't want to. That's excuses. They're going to play all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
get Norman Dale and his tape measure out here.
There's all kinds of college arenas that are just like Bankers Life. It shouldn't matter, especially not when you're talking about 24 or 43. So I don't accept any of the excuses. These guys have been playing this game since they were 4 years old. They should be able to knock down, as you say, at least 70% of these shots. And it's, you'd hate to see another season come down to one possession losses where Indiana shoots free throws like they did yesterday. But, until they prove otherwise, it looks like we're headed down that path again. But I'm glad you mentioned the defensive side, because that jumped out at me too. I mean, I think Indiana, only played 9 guys to Marquette's 11. So I'm sure there was a little bit of fatigue, but nevertheless, they played some good second half defense, including, again, you're talking about Armand Franklin, going up against the likes of a Marcus Howard in that game. The funny thing about the box score was that Franklin had 7 fouls, which I suspect they just let him keep committing fouls because Indiana didn't have any guards to check Howard. But, the fact that Indiana, had to face a guy like Howard and still held Marquette to such a poor shooting performance in the second half, I think does speak to something at least.
Yeah, he only had 15 points in the game. He was 4 of 8 overall, 2 of 6 behind the stripe in 26 minutes. So they did a good job on him. They did a good job overall. They did a good enough job to win this game, like I said. They lost it at the free throw line. That has got to drive you crazy. Getting back to football, Indiana headed off to Nebraska like we've talked about. 3-point favorite, man. Never thought we'd see this at the beginning of the season, although I was behind this team thinking that they're going to win 7 or 8 games, but still being a favorite after back-to-back wins in the Big Ten on this last one on the road. Now they go to Lincoln, Nebraska as a 3-point favorite. Hopefully they can live up to that. But, man, this team is probably exceeding a lot of people's expectations right now.
Yeah, I think we're clinging to the past when we think about Nebraska. I don't think that this is necessarily any more challenging of a game, especially if we're facing the backup quarterback than Maryland was. I mean, tougher road environment for sure. That has to be considered. But Nebraska just really hasn't done anything to impress this year. They're 4-3. Their 4 wins are really against bad teams, and the good teams that they've played, they've gotten blown out. So there's no reason to think that Indiana's not going to go up and put up a fight.
Absolutely. Mike Schumann from the dailyhoosier.com. Check it out for IU content. Mike, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jim. Have a great week.
You as well. There's Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joining us. We've got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. From the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, we've got Tom Allen to hear from next, as well as the reboot from Todd Leary as well. So stay tuned. Lots more coming up. Back with more right after this.
Make my baby understand. Something tells me that I'm dreaming. I can see his head waving unaware of the problems that have a tendency to keep.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Whiteman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Monday, October 21. Appreciate you joining us, as always. Great program today on the show. Don Fischer, Mike Schumann, both here with us. We're going to hear from Todd Leary coming up next, but Indiana, big weekend over the weekend on the football field as they knock off Maryland to go 5-2 on the season. One game short of bowl eligibility now as they head into Lincoln, Nebraska this weekend as a 3-point favorite right now. We'll be meeting with Coach Tom Allen today and players. We'll have all that for you tomorrow and the rest of the week, but it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Michael Penix plays. I think that he will. Hopefully he will. That's going to make a huge difference in that game. But Indiana going to Nebraska is a 3-point favorite. On the road, in the Big Ten, after back-to-back Big Ten wins. A lot of you didn't think that. I'm not going to say I told you so, but we've got it on record, babe. What did I say? 7 or 8 wins. I think 8 too. I know I said 7 for sure, but I think 8. And there's a possibility to get that win, Indiana, that 9 win hashtag with a bowl win. This is a team that can do it. Man, if they could just get their defense shored up. Well, they can, but they're not with this defense playing like that. You can't play like that against Michigan. You can't play like that against Penn State. Now, granted, Penn State is, if you want to ask me, is the one that I don't have them winning. That's a tough ask. You're going to Penn State. Penn State is one of the top teams in the country. They're going to end up being, if they're not already, in discussions for playing in the national playoffs at the end of the season. So it's just a tough ask. Indiana's just not that good. Defensively. Offensively, they can play with anybody, I think. But defensively, they're not good enough right now. Not saying they can't get there. Right now, they're not good enough defensively to beat a Penn State. Purdue is not falling apart, even though they've had a lot of things go bad for them, losing their quarterback, losing Rondale Moore for a while. I think they'll have him back. So when Indiana travels to West Lafayette, that's going to be a team that has a quarterback that's been playing for a while, one that in his first start got 400 yards and player of the week. They've got David Bell. So there are no easy wins. None. Even Northwestern, who on paper, I don't know what they did this weekend. I know they only had one win going in. Even Northwestern.
They lost to Ohio State 52-3.
Okay, that's losing to Ohio State is no shame to anybody. Ohio State has done that to everybody. So that puts Indiana and Northwestern on a level playing field, and Indiana's at home, so Indiana should win that game. That could be their 7th win if they're able to come out victorious against Nebraska. Can you imagine being 7-2 with 3 games to play?
I've never seen that.
It's been a minute. If it ever, I'd have to go back to look at 1993 when they had the last really good year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were 7-1 after their first 8 games. How about that? Not bad. But they have the opportunity. They have the opportunity for certain. Hey, Peyton Ramsey spoke with the media yesterday. Let's hear what Peyton had to say.
Guys, what has been different? I mean, you talk about trying to prepare as whether you want, like you're going to start, but what is different maybe week to week for you as opposed to last season?
I think the obvious. I think the fact that I know I'm not going to start, and sometimes mentally it's hard to get yourself to go in the film room when you know you're not going to be the guy. But it's just this mental, this discipline that you got to do it because you never know. You never know when your team's going to need you. And if I wasn't ready out there, if I wasn't prepared and would have let those guys down, it would have been miserable and something that I would have had to live with.
Hey, can you talk a little bit about how important those points were right before halftime?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were the difference, you know. Just going down and getting a big touchdown. Nick made a great catch. I truly don't know how he caught that ball, but, it was huge getting those points, kind of having some momentum going into halftime, and then rolling once we came back out in the second half.
Hey, a lot of things started to roll Maryland's way. How big is it for the program to kind of flip the script a little bit, get the big pick at the end, get the fumble recovery, make a few big first down runs to put up field goals.
Yeah, in the past we haven't got those breaks. The ball hasn't always bounced our way, but this is just a different group of guys. Just a group of guys that cares and works so hard and is locked in all the time. And that's just a credit to everybody in the locker room. Those guys work so hard. They're so fun to come in and be around every single day.
In 2017, you guys came in here and didn't have quite the same outcome, but you looked determined, especially on the long run, for it to not let that happen again. Is that in your back of your mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, I try to play like that every week. Just if I had to take one for the team, then that's what it is. It didn't hurt as bad as you would have thought, but that's not just me on this team. That's you saw it all over the field tonight. It was linemen making big blocks. It was Stevie, making big runs and finishing big runs. So, it's fun to see when a group of guys is so determined and willing to go get a Big Ten road win.
Just how important was the performance of that line? It's getting more and more makeshift as you guys pick up injuries. Simon moves to the left. McKenzie comes in. Obviously, you're with them the whole second half. Just how important was their performance?
Yeah, they played awesome, and you have seen their progression throughout the entire year. They're continuing to get better week after week, and I think they're getting a lot more confident. It doesn't matter where you put them. Simon can go to left, but he's still confident because they work so well together and they communicate so well. So, it's really fun to see, and it's awesome to be behind those guys.
What are your thoughts on getting to 5-2? You're now one win away from definitely going to a bowl.
Yeah, it's awesome. Being 5-2 is, we always just talk about winning the next game, and we got a big one here. We haven't necessarily looked saying this is what we want our record to be after this week, but we go out every week and get a win, and being 5-2 is really exciting for us.
I mean, that being said, I know you guys talk about 1 week at a time, but this is the first time you've hit 5 wins before Halloween since 2007. Is there something different about maybe this team looking at that bowl game as a goal that you feel like is going to push you guys a little bit further this year?
I think so. I think if we can continue we're 1 win away with 5 games to play, and I think that's something that that's really exciting. That's really awesome for us, and just worrying about getting one more every single week, not looking ahead to anybody, and just getting one more. So I'm really excited for the direction that we're headed.
Peyton, what did you know
Peyton Ramsey, Indiana's quarterback, who had to step in when Michael Penix went down with an injury. Didn't really seem to miss a beat offensively. Peyton Ramsey with a tremendous day, 20 of 27, 192 or 7 yards passing. I can't remember exactly what that was. Let me get that pulled up. 193 yards passing with a touchdown, 146 quarterback rating. Not bad for your backup. Indiana's very fortunate in that situation. We don't know the status of Michael Penix yet. Hopefully we'll know more later today. We'll find out. Also, Stevie Scott. Big day for Stevie. The running game's been slow getting started, but now he's got back-to-back games of over 100 yards or more, 108 yards on 18 carries against Maryland, 6 yards a carry. Let's hear what Stevie had to say.
What did you see? What was working for you?
Really, the O-line, just stepped it up and really just started blocking. They really dug deep, and I feel like they finished this game, and this is like the progress of us just finishing, and you just got to keep it going.
There's been a script that people follow that these close games usually turn out not great for you guys, but you flipped the script today. How did that feel, and what was the message in the locker room after that?
Basically, just went back in the locker room after we scored the touchdown going into half. We just had to recuperate and just, all buy in and tell each other, we have to finish strong. Just show the world that, we're coming different this year, and that we're just ready for anybody.
How was the communication with the offensive line with the switching that was going around with Harry at center and Simon flipping over? Everything looked like it went pretty smooth for the most part?
Definitely. I feel like they definitely adjusted very well, especially during practice. And I feel like in the game, I feel like nothing, really went wrong with the O-line. I feel like everything was the same, even with Hunter not being there. So I feel like the O-line definitely played very well today and helped us to get this W.
Give me a player's view of a guy like Peyton Ramsey, who's not the starter, but prepares always and is ready to go in and produce.
Peyton, I could say he's locked in always 100%. He knows every play call, every check call, everything. So, when Mike went down, the Peyton had to come and step up. I didn't have any doubt in my mind that, Peyton couldn't get the job done. So I definitely was, happy because, Peyton been here before. He know how the Big Ten level is. So, he just came in, stepped up, and just did his job.
That 15-yard run on 3rd and 11, if you had to pick a play to post as Peyton Ramsey, is that one of those plays that just encapsulates the kind of person he is?
That's what I love about him. Because he can make a play, a bad play turn into a good play just with his feet. I just love that he can scramble and, just get out certain situations and just keep the chains moving. So, like I said, I love when Peyton's at quarterback, and, I'm just happy we came out with the W.
The last 2 games, you guys have had more success in the second half running the ball. What do you attribute that to?
Just coming in and, just staying focused and just talking to each other and just telling them, that we got each other back, just display that LEO and just keep pushing, just finish strong and dig deep.
First half, it was a lot of short runs, 2-3 yards, then you kind of exploded in the second. Was it just how you were able to wear them down, or were you seeing something different? Was the offense doing something different?
Well, that's something that Coach Hart tells us a lot. Just take what we could get, the 2 or 3 yards, and eventually those big runs will pop. So I guess that's basically what happened today. So I was just being patient and just going with the flow. Just doing whatever to help my team win, put points up on the board going into halftime. And I guess once we came out of halftime, we just recuperated, like I said, and we just started running our plays, and we finished.
This season, you've been getting a little bit more involved with the pass game compared to your freshman year. How much of a focus has that been on you in the offseason than early in this year?
We work on pat and go, something that, I don't know if you guys know what pat and go is, but it's just basically a quarterback just throwing the ball over our shoulder downfield. So, just doing that every day and just bettering my hands every day. That's just, I'm glad, that the running backs are really being used in the passing game this year, just to make our offense more dynamic and diverse.
Is that your goal to try to be more of a full 3-down back with the passing game?
Definitely. That's one of my biggest goals that coming into this season was, just being that back, that could be in every down, and, just be anywhere on the field to help this team win and make plays.
That was Stevie Scott, of course, Indiana's running back, 108 yards on the day against Maryland. Also, a name that we've been wanting to hear from, Reese Taylor. He's been moved from offense to defense, was injured at the start of the season, getting back into the swing of things, and really getting into this game because he got the interception at the end of the game to seal the win for Indiana. So it's good to see him back in action. Let's hear what Reese had to say.
He actually said that you probably wouldn't have been there to make that pick if not for some of the adjustments that you guys made from first half to second half. Just how important were just some of the tweaks to what you guys were doing defensively to slowing them down after halftime?
When Coach Kane came out and told us we had to start finding the small stuff, we just all sat down. He told us what we got to do. We came out and just did what he said. We had to trust him. He came out and said, we got to lock in. We got to come. It's going to be down to defense win championships. And we just focus on the little things and just play happy.
Did you guys want the opportunity for the game to kind of be on the defense a little bit, and you guys have to make plays?
Of course. We always wanted to be on us. If anything happens, we want defense. Defense win championships. Like I said, we all wanted it. We all had to step up. We all had to do what we do.
What do you think of I think it was Burgess who had the strip and fumble recover earlier?
I was too excited. When I seen that, we had to finish. That's what we had to do when I seen the strip. The game's not over until it hit 0-0-0. So when it happened, the offense come through the third down, so we had to kick a field goal. And we still had to be on us. Defense got to come out and still prepare.
How tough has the season been for you? Obviously, last year you kind of did what the team needed, but this was going to be kind of the year where you moved to the position you wanted to play. And how maybe satisfying is tonight to kind of feel like you're getting back there? You've had a couple of really good games under your belt.
I'm getting my feet in the door. I'm getting good at the position. I still got to work hard, more than the usual. I still got to do more than the usual. I like to work, but I'm still getting good at the position. I've still got to do as much as I can.
On the interception, kind of take me through how that play unfolded from your perspective.
In the coverage we was running, I had to fold over 2, and I seen 2 was on invert, so I had to come over, and I seen the ball in the air. I just had to go make a play. That's what I did.
What limited explosive plays in particular? It felt like, obviously Leak had that long touchdown run in the first half, but in general, it felt like you kept Maryland in front of you a lot more after halftime.
Our coach, Coach Shelby, that's his main thing, keep the ball in front of you. So that's what we did. We had to lock in and make sure we did that. We worked every day in practice to make sure the ball's in front of us. That's his number one pet peeve, is just keep the ball in front of you. So that's what we did.
You guys are just one win away now from getting to a bowl. I mean, how much do you think that's going to drive you guys?
We got to work as hard as we can. We got to work as much as we can, do anything, do all the little things right. We have to lock in for the rest of the season. We got another big game going on the road. We got to go in, lock in like we just did, and just make plays, takeaways.
I guess on that interception, kind of, how do you kind of look at that play? Sorry.
Sorry, let's transplant this. Like, in the interception, you kind of had the growth that Zach talked about, kind of to get to more in your position where you are now. Because that kind of any bit of validation of work that you've done so far.
We work every day. We work hard as we can every day. We just gotta do the small things right, and it's gonna put us in the right position. We just gotta trust coach, trust the head coach, and just do everything right, and it's gonna put us in the right position to make plays.
Coach Allen said that locker room was pretty special afterwards. I mean, how would you describe what it was like for your teammates?
Like, we all came from the same mother. Like, we all brothers in there. It's never arguing. It's never going back and forth. We always come together, make sure that we all pick each other up, make sure we always good, make sure we always A1 with each other. We're always good.
Everybody hugging.
Everybody's hugging.
There you go. There's Reese Taylor. Got the interception to seal that win the other day. Text into the show from Tim. Wisconsin's a 14-point underdog at Ohio State. Not surprising there. Maybe when Archie recruits a player, his first question should be, can you hit 90% of your free throws? Yeah. From Ryan, I love my Hoosiers, as you know, but if you do not make around 70-75% of your free throws, you will not make a deep run unless you absolutely dominate on rebounds every single time the ball goes up, and that is not realistic. Not for this team. You're right, Ryan. And from Bill, no reason for poor free throw shooting. That doesn't change from fifth grade to the pros. That's right. That's why it boggles my mind. It's all mental, man. And Indiana's a program that has historically been a great free throw shooting team. They're not right now. They've got to get that. I don't care what it is. I don't even care anymore. Just fix it. Gee whiz, that's horrific. That's like not being able to dribble the basketball. But, hey, a lot more coming up here on the program. Going to reboot Todd Leary up next. Then we're going to hear from Tom Allen, hear what he had to say after that big win at Maryland. Lots more coming up. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Say it again, y'all. Whoa. Look out. What is it good for? Absolutely. Listen to
Welcome
me.
back to the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle, welcome in the Todd Father, Todd Leary. How are you, sir?
I'm great this morning. How you doing?
Lovely, lovely. It's definitely fall weather, man. You step out there and, whoo, it gets you a quick reminder of it.
It is definitely chilled out this morning, that's for sure.
Lots going on, man. There's so much to talk about. Boy, we heard from John Calipari earlier. He was talking about his relationship with Archie. It goes way, way back. His Archie's grandmother apparently raised Calipari's mom, this, that. And it was just all it was a big circle back around of why we're not going to play Indiana. That's all it was. Seriously, he was asked a question, and his answer was, "Well, I made them the offer to play twice in Indianapolis. Our governor would be upset because we weren't playing, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't want to do it, so I figured nothing could make them happy." And I'm like, how about you play the games where they're supposed to be played in Assembly Hall? It's just it cracks me up. He's BS, and I really don't get it, other than getting his ass beat and not coming back, of why he simply won't play. It's a great series for college basketball. It's an absolute travesty that series is not in play right now. Now, it's probably fortunate for Indiana over the last couple of years that it's not in play, I'll be honest with you. But with that said, that's a series that should be going on, and I know you have to agree as one that took part in that series.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of the things I don't understand, and I don't want to call somebody out because I don't know him personally at all. But from a competitive standpoint,
I don't mind.
From a competitive standpoint, I don't see how there could be any justification for ever not wanting to play that game. And the fact that Coach Knight, and I seem to always relay back to him, but he kind of instilled this mentality in us was, you know what, we'll play anybody anywhere. And that's the challenge you want to be able to say. Like right now, it looks like, I think a lot of people, even on the Kentucky side, will look at it and say, well, there's really no benefit to Kentucky playing Indiana, in that game. And that's just they're listening to what the coaches have said in some weird interview somewhere, but there's no justification for it. I mean, you as a coach, you want to be able to sit there and say, look, we want to put our product out on the floor and it should be able to transition and play anywhere in any arena, under any circumstances, and no matter how crazy the crowds are and all those things. And so I just never understood how anyone would want to get away from a game that has that much passion. And believe me, I hate for Indiana to lose that game too. But at the end of the day, I'd rather play it every year and lose it every year than not play it at all. And I don't understand any justification in not trying to make sure they could do whatever they could. And they could make it happen if they wanted to make it happen. They can come up with all the excuses they want. Don't believe anything. If they wanted that game to happen, it would happen.
Absolutely. That's why it makes no sense. It's not only for the fans of Indiana and Kentucky. That's a college basketball game. That's one that is for college basketball. Those are two of the Titans. And It's just absolutely ridiculous, especially when we're in the same regional proximity of having these fans right up next to each other. These are border states. And to ignore that is just an absolute joke. But it's just more, I don't get it. I really don't, and it makes no sense. So I guess there's no sense in wasting any more time on it. But
well, I mean,
is what it is.
that's what we do is waste people's time. But it's just there's no great explanation for it. And I'll be honest, like I don't know. You take Indiana, Kentucky out of it. You can look at any of those rivalry games. It's hard to say Duke, North Carolina, and all that because they're in the same conference and they have to play each other. But I just don't understand how. I don't understand how it could ever be justified that you put two crazy, supposed blue blood schools together that, that have had a rivalry for gazillions of years, and you could find a reason why it wouldn't make sense for them to play each other in a year. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yep, and as the one and done rules goes away here in the next year or two, I don't know that series will get reignited because Kentucky would probably stand a better chance of losing when Calipari actually has to coach when he doesn't have a stable full of one and dones. But that's
I mean that thing probably won't get back on the board until the regime changes at Kentucky. Until Calipari's gone, or they get a new AD in there that doesn't listen to the coach. I can't see that rivalry. I can't see that being back on the table. He's obviously avoiding it. I mean, he's instilling his will and the fact that he knows he can control that. It's just a control freak move is all that is.
That's it, man. Last night, Patrick Mahomes went down. Did you watching the football game?
I did not.
Yeah, he's out for 3 weeks with a knee injury.
He's out for how long?
3 weeks.
Oh, man.
Dislocated his knee. But Indiana this weekend, they travel to Maryland. Indiana football, man, I truly think, Todd, that they can have a special season. Right now, they stand at 4-2 on the year. They're a 6-point favorite at Maryland. First of all, Indiana is never, other than every other year when they travel to Rutgers, they're never a favorite on the road in the Big Ten. And they are here. And then when they get that win, they have to go to Nebraska next week. And I cannot wait for that line to come out because I am very, very interested. For one thing, I can't imagine Indiana ever having been a road favorite 2 weeks in a row in the Big Ten. I don't know that that's going to happen even with a win over Maryland because at Nebraska is a tough ask. I think that Indiana will probably be a 3-point underdog in that game. But I definitely think Indiana will be going to Nebraska 5-2 and looking for a bowl-eligible management 6th win there. But don't want to put the cart before the horse. Maryland is the task at hand this week. It's a team that they started out averaging 71 points a game for the first 2 games of the season, and now they're getting their butt kicked in the Big Ten. But they've gone through some quarterback issues, and it's a game Indiana should win easily, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but I don't know about the win easily part. Like, last week we discussed them being such a gigantic favorite and a 27-point favorite in a Big Ten game. And, I think we all thought they'd win that game, and we all thought they'd win pretty easily. And we kind of wanted to put the test out there and see how they did. And, you've got to give them credit because they passed that test with flying colors and got off to a great start and had an early lead and, held them to no points. And that's a great victory. And so they passed that test and you have to celebrate that. But, as the season marches on, you only get to celebrate for a couple hours and then it's time to start preparing for the next game. And that's what this game is. And it's another test. I mean, it truly is. It's a better team than what was last week. It's on the road. It's a game that, probably if they're going to be what they, what the fan base wants them to be and what the coaching staff thinks they can be, then this is a game they need to go in. And if they do that, I think you win this ball game and you've got 5 wins already. You have a serious chance to, like you said, have a special season, not just become bowl eligible. And I think Indiana fans have been, burned over the years so many times of thinking this was going to be, a special season or this could be the year they turn it around and, all the cliche statements. But I mean, right now you've got to ride the high when you've got it. And they definitely have some momentum. They've done some things that they've said they were going to do that in the past they've said, but weren't able to accomplish. And right now they're accomplishing them. And this is just another one. This would be a big time you can't overlook this team. This is a team that can score a lot of points, and those teams are always difficult because the whole, the structure of a game and the game planning and all that can change if you go in and go down 14 or 21 points real quick. You can have to change your game plan, and it's not what you prepared for. And so, they've got to go in, they've got to instill their will early on. They don't have to jump out to a 21-point lead, but they've got to control the field position, control the ball, have the ball in their hands, move it when they want to, get first downs, march down the field, score points, and then get that clock running. And if they can do that, I think they'll not only prove a lot of stuff to the fan base, but they'll start to become more believers themselves. And I know they believe in themselves, but a little confidence and winning on the road is a huge thing for teams and coaches, and this would be a big one for them.
Good cop, bad cop, folks. You can figure out who's who. I'm the most pessimistic optimist. I think I'm the most pessimistic optimist I've ever known. But I am the eternal. When it comes to Indiana football, I am optimistic, especially on this season. Man, and next week when we're talking Nebraska, I'm probably gonna blow your mind. I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna pick Indiana to win that game. But
Nebraska is a team that they were playing great. Who was their big game they played earlier this year? Like Oklahoma or
no, not yet.
They played somebody early in the year, and it was a big game, and it was like the game of the week, and they got destroyed.
Ohio State, maybe.
Yeah, is that who it was?
I don't know.
It was Ohio State. Yeah, that's right. It was Ohio State, and that was a game that their season has kind of, I don't want to say tanked, but definitely gone downhill since that point. They were talking about their quarterback, Nebraska's quarterback, possibly, if he had a great game there and continued on through the season well, probably not winning the Heisman, but being up there in the talks and voting with it. And, they laid an egg in that game. And so I think they've kind of gone downhill since that point. And, it'd have been nice for Indiana to be able to play them the week after that. But, it's a situation that that's not looking ahead. I'm definitely not looking ahead. I learned my lesson on that one, but they've got to win this weekend. But then that Nebraska game it'll be another test, another opportunity for them to prove, that they are what everyone wants them to be from a fan base perspective.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting time. It's sure a fun time for Indiana football. They got a commitment yesterday from a 3-star tight end. Things are going well. Tom Allen's doing a hell of a job. He's recruiting well. He's putting the product on the field now. As long as things continue and they can stay healthy, I think it's going to be an absolutely fun season for Hoosier football fans, which I know there's not a lot of them out there, but hopefully they can start cultivating more and more and get them back out of the grave. But speaking of the grave, text into the show, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you around a graveyard?
Do you mean as an employee, or do you mean when I was a kid?
Well, let's go with both, Alex.
I'm just teasing.
I'll take both for 500. Alex.
There's just based on privacy issues, I probably shouldn't discuss some of the goofiness that goes on, but there's a lot of weird stuff that happens at cemeteries.
You don't have to mention any names.
No, I'm good. We'll talk off the air.
What else is going on this weekend for Todd Leary?
Nothing. Just work. Another work weekend.
Do you? Now, we've talked about this before. Do you watch baseball much?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Do you watch anything besides college basketball? Like football. Football. Hey, you're a football fan, right?
Yeah, I like college football. Golf. But during golf season, I'd rather watch a golf 4 days of golf, Thursday through Sunday, than anything.
Now, I know people like that, and I have to ask, why? I mean, I love sports as much as anybody, obviously, but I'm not sitting there watching golf for 4 damn days. And I know people that will not miss a stroke.
Yeah, but it's just, that's why the world is made up the way that it is. That's exactly how I feel about baseball. Like,
I agree.
I can watch the World Series because it's that meaningful. I can watch the NBA finals or even the NBA playoffs because you get to see some unbelievable athletes that are playing, as hard as they can. But I can't. It's hard for me to watch the NBA in game number, 45 of the season of 82 games because, if their pinky finger hurts, then they don't play. And, I'm not blaming them. That's their livelihood and their job. So that's what they're taught to do and supposed to do. But they need to take rest and do those things. But, I just don't get into. I want to see them play as hard as they can. And, when there's something on the line like the World Series or things like that, I will watch baseball at that point. But baseball, growing up as a kid playing baseball, and I always played baseball, football, and basketball, and I loved all of them. But, baseball was a summertime sport, and it was just what you did when it wasn't basketball season. And I liked it. But now when I sit there and watch the World Series and it's in October and it's freezing cold outside and these guys are having to warm their hands up, it doesn't make any sense to me. They played 162 games in warm weather and then ended up playing the World Series in cold weather. It just sounds stupid to me. But I could solve all the world's problems if they just asked me. I've got a great opinion of everything.
Love it. Speaking of golf, the women's LPGA Senior Championship was just at French Lick. Did you make it out there?
I did not make it out there for that. I would love to. This is such a beautiful course, and that whole area out there is so incredible. As from a golfing perspective, if you've never been to that place down there, I would highly recommend it. It is one of the hidden gems in Indiana from a golf perspective. So I did not get to make it out there for that, but I know that's a great event, and they've had some other big events there in the past. So I think that thing will continue to host more and more things year in and year out.
Oh, it's one of the most beautiful courses I've ever seen. But did you see?
Incredible.
I can't remember who it was, the lady player, but there was a player. She's not a regular on the tour anymore. So, and there's been some some rule changes. She had to end up adding like 90 penalty strokes to her scorecard. 90. I'm not making that up. 90.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
You can't have your caddy stand behind you when you line up your putt. You have to reset. And her caddy lined her up on the putts, and she never reset on virtually all the putts. So she had to add like 90
penalty for all
strokes. Yes. Is that nuts? That's crazy.
That's a
man,
little
I feel like we could do this for 2 hours, man.
Yeah, I'm in. Let me know when you want to do that.
All right, brother, I'll let you go. I hope you have a great weekend. We appreciate you as always. Hope you have a great Friday and a hell of a weekend.
Hey, boss, I appreciate it. I always look forward to talking to you.
You bet. Todd Leary, the Todd Father, with us here on this Friday. We've got a lot more coming up. Should be getting to Tom Brew next from Sports Illustrated Indiana. Hope you're having a good day. From the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Graduate from colleges. Better to be silent than be thoughtful than to speak.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Monday, October 21. Big show today. Appreciate Don Fischer joining us and Mike Schumann as well. Indiana with a big win over the weekend, getting the win over Maryland. Now they go to Nebraska. One game shy of bowl eligibility. Tom Allen talked to the media after the big win over Maryland this past weekend. Let's hear what Coach had to say.
I'll tell you what, just proud of our football team. Just really a team effort, all three phases. They got speed all over the place, and I was concerned about that, giving up those big plays in the first half. But I thought our defense adjusted well at halftime, other than that one drive, and obviously provided the final takeaway. We got two key takeaways there in the fourth quarter. I said at the beginning of the game, I thought takeaways were going to be the key to us winning this game. And we kind of waited the last minute to get them, but we finally got a couple. But our kids fought hard, and we played with some backups in certain spots, and so today. So that's what happens this time of year. You got to be able to adjust and get guys ready to play and get them ready to roll. So just so proud of Peyton Ramsey. And what an absolute awesome young man. Just was ready to play when called upon. I know this has been tough on him, but the ultimate team player. And he proved his value to his teammates today and by preparing the way he prepared to play the way he needed to play and execute at a high level. So just don't have an update completely on Michael Penix. At this juncture, don't know what next week holds, but don't think it's a long-term thing. But we decided for him to be able to hold out the second half and not come back out. So, but we'll know more tomorrow with all that. But bottom line is it was a really well-rounded group effort, and that's what it takes to win on the road in the Big Ten. Questions?
Coach, could you give us an indication of what type of injury it was?
No, I really don't want to get into all that.
Upper body?
No.
Is it all related to what he had before, or is it different?
No, it's not related to that.
Just you talked about what's been tough for Peyton specifically in your mind as he's going? And I know he's played some this year. He started a couple games, but what's been tough for him specifically, kind of going through and having to look at all this from a different perspective?
Well, I think it's really hard when you're the returning starter and you lose your starting job. I mean, he works so hard. I think it's when you're an athlete, you take a lot of pride in being the guy. He's worked his whole life to come here and be that guy. And so to be able to accept that, a lot of guys can't. And they decide to sometimes go somewhere else when that decision's made. But he chose to stay for this football team. And that's why I respect him so much, because he lived it out. I mean, he made a choice, and not just to stay, but to be prepared every week. I mean, he prepared this week to be the starter, even though he may not even play a snap. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. That takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of maturity. it takes a special person, I think. I get it. The NFL happens all the time, but that's a different deal. This is, you look around the country, and it's hard to find teams that have two guys that can come in on a moment's notice and lead your team to victory. And so we have two, and they both proved their worth tonight. And so I just respect him so much and proud of him. I gave him the game ball because of it, because he without his focus and effort, attention to detail, preparing each day leading up to this game, he wouldn't have been ready to play. So that's what it takes to get a Big Ten road win.
Can you talk a little bit about what those points right before halftime meant from a confidence level?
It was huge. I mean, I talked to Nick, and Nick to me he's one of our captains. I hugged him right then. I said, "Man, you may just won us the game." Because it's just, I've been in enough of these games, and I went back and watched the one that we had 2 years ago when we came here, and the opposite happened. They got the momentum going into halftime, and I knew it was going to come down to the wire. I told our guys it's been one of those crazy games, one of those rivalries where we just tend to, every time since I've been here, every game's come down to the final possession. So I didn't expect anything different tonight, and so I knew that every point was going to matter, and then I hugged him afterwards and said, "Man, that play right before half, that was the difference, and like you said, it was momentum as well. And it was a heck of a catch, too, So, but all those things add up. I thought our receivers caught the ball extremely well, tight ends. TV ran hard. Defense made great adjustments at halftime, and Coach Wommack did a great job. It's an explosive offense. Now, I know they've been inconsistent, but I promise you this, they're hard to deal with. There's a reason why they scored as many points they did on Syracuse. It was a good football team. And so really took a lot of our guys to be able to, and it's about learning how to win too. That to me is a big part of this. And I'd love for us to be able to score, when we got that first fumble there and go ahead by 10 and the pressure's kind of off in some ways, and you just kind of put them on their heels and you got just a 2-score game 3 minutes to go, but you know what? You don't grow as much that way. You grow when your defense has to be on the field. And we had him on 4th and 2 or 3, and we really had him for a sack, and he got out of our grasp, and heck of a play on his part. And then you have to go, and then Reese Taylor makes the final pick. So that the defense grows in confidence because of tonight. And you don't learn that, when you're, on the sideline and things are easy. You learn it when you're on the field, and you have to step up and make a play. And we've been through all these over the years and the tough losses that we've been through. But the team has to learn how to win. And I think we took a step in that direction tonight.
What is it about Peyton Ramsey that gives him the ability to prepare, like you mentioned, and go out and produce on the road and get you guys a Big Ten road win?
Character, the way he was raised. I think the kind of person that he is, not everybody can do that. And I'm just telling you, all you got to do is just look around the country. Guys want things to go their way, and when they don't, they react a certain way. And he, as much as it hurt him on the inside, he's been, like for instance, let's just give an example. So even last night, I gave our guys a challenge. I mean, that guy was so locked into every word I said, and he may not even play the snap today, And he was so locked into everything I said. And I can tell when guys are, he's that way every day. It never changes. He's that way in the weight room. He's that way every day at practice. That's called character. That's called having something to you that's special. And he's going to be successful in life. He is, because he's been taught by his family and his dad that that's how you handle tough things. And so that's a tribute to him, because he's a man, and he's not a young man. He's turned into a man. And sometimes life is, when it's hard, is when we grow the most. And so I just really think that he, it's part of his, to answer your question, it's the upbringing, it's the, kind of man that he's become and was trained to be, and he's living it out. So just awesome to see.
Coach, that 15-yard run on 3rd and 11 by Peyton, does that, if you had to describe a play as a person, does that really encompass what Peyton is?
It's savvy, it's toughness, it's grit, it's fight. I mean, you got hit hard. Matter of fact, we told Jack Teller to warm up. I wasn't sure, So, but that's the truth. So he's just so gritty and tough. I mean, that's just, you're right. That run just exemplifies who he is as a player, and his ability to make those kind of plays and keep the chains moving and keep on the field and keep us from having to give them the ball back, and eat some more clock. So yeah, pretty good picture of who he is.
You mentioned
Those defensive adjustments in particular, I think it was only like 144 total yards of offense. They had the second half, obviously, just the one score.
Yeah.
What, from your perspective, did Coach Womack do differently even before the 2 late turnovers?
Well, first of all, they were doing some different things now. I give them a lot of credit. I mean, they looked different schematically than they've been on film, and so they did some things that were, we weren't ready for, and so adjusting to some of those things, we eliminated some calls that we didn't like based on the things they were doing different. And also I just told them, I said, hey, just narrow it down to 3 things that you really like. And let's just execute. To me, we had a couple of situations where we didn't communicate. And we still got some young guys out there. And like on the one big long pass, we had 3 guys in an area. 2 of them played one coverage and 1 played a different one. That usually doesn't end well. Okay, and so I'm like, eliminate all those situations. Let's just execute what we do well. And so we simplified a little bit, added a couple things that we hadn't planned to use because they hadn't shown certain things, and then to adjust to. So that's why when you got a system and you believe in your system, you can pull from things. And then even on that last drive, what we did, ran some coverages we haven't run, to try and confuse them a little bit, and it worked. That last pick would not have been a pick had we been in the coverage we were using in the first half. So it was just little things like that, but. That's, Coach Womack did a great job. So proud of him and our defensive staff for making those adjustments, and that's how you win games. So that's great on their part.
Matt, last question. You mentioned all the close games you had here over the years. Why is this team different that's able to actually get this one done?
Well, to me, that's part of growing and maturing as a team. I feel like that. The weight room, when we're talking about running that football at critical times, running it better in the second half than we did in the first half. I think that's part of it. I think it's a little more maturity in some of our older guys in their leadership. The guys like Simon, and Westbrook stepping up, and to me, it's about, I've always said this, you win games like this when, guys step up and make critical plays at critical times. It's the interception by Reese Taylor. Reese Taylor's a great football player. He's young. He missed all fall camp with an injury. He didn't play much early on. He got a second injury. He's a great football player. And those kind of guys, it's recruiting. It is. It's depth. It's the ability to finish in those situations. We got more good players than we've had in the past. We got more guys that we can put in there. And when guys, we had some injuries. Even tonight, we had several guys that didn't play. That weren't able to finish the game. And so in the past, it got to the point where we were just a little shorthanded, and it showed up. So I think it's all those things. It's hard to pinpoint one, and also I think it comes down to core confidence and belief, and that's why I'm so thrilled with how the game finished, because it needed to be like that for us to take the next step and keep growing, and we just keep each week keep getting playing tougher teams, and got to go on the road here next week and play another tough team in a tough venue. So, but man, sure feels great to come here and get a win and let our guys, man, that locker room was pretty special. The excitement was it's what you want to see, because these guys work so hard, and I love them all.
There's Coach Tom Allen, Indiana football coach, talking after the Maryland win. We'll be meeting with him today, as a matter of fact, see what's going on with Michael Penix, see if we can get any word on that. And as we move forward, Indiana heading on to Nebraska this weekend. Right now, they're a 3-point favorite, so hold on to your hats, folks. This football season is about to get crazy. Tomorrow, coming up on the program, it's a Chronic Tuesday. That means Chronic Hoosier will be back with us. Also, Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals. We're going to talk some Indiana basketball as the Hoosiers give up a scrimmage over the weekend to Marquette. We'll talk more about that as well. So thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate Mike Schumann on the program today, as well as Don Fischer. Appreciate you as well. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle, and until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.
Slower.